I would have been content to serve as my mother's vice president or president for as long as she was in office, until she decided to leave her job. As evidence of our closeness at the time of my dad's death, she included me in all of her bank accounts. Following the passing of her spouse in 2022, Joni Lamb assumed the role of president at Daystar TV. Her salary increased by 140%, reaching over $1 million according to an internal document obtained by Roy's Story. According to the most recent salary report for 2023, Joni Lamb earned $436,750 in 2021, while her husband Marcus was the head of the Christian television network. Marcus was married to Lucy Lamb. Her total compensation reportedly increased to $1,048,200 in 2022, more than tripling that of Daystar's next highest paid employee, according to the article. The chief financial officer was paid second most. All right, group, come back with us for another in-depth exploration. Sure, I appreciate it. By the way, today we are going to discuss something pretty awesome. We will investigate Daystar TV's financial situation. I understand. An important Christian television network, Daystar, may be familiar to you. In particular, following the death of co-founder Marcus Lamb, we are investigating the company's financial dealings from behind the scenes. I think that's a fascinating topic. To be fair, there are plenty of large salary increases, more in-depth family issues than in any soap opera you've ever watched, and some bizarre financial details that leave you baffled. In this context, many of these questions concerning the administration of large nonprofits arise. I agree, absolutely. Factoring in all of these religious beliefs and familial connections further complicates matters. Yeah, it's crazy because Joni Lamb, Marcus's wife, became president after his death and got a lot of money. Oh no. As a result, her salary increased by 140%, topping $1 million in 2022. Wow, that's quite a bit. It is indeed. At Daystar, that individual's salary is over 3 times that of this person. When you give it some thought, it's pretty insane. When Marcus was still alive in 2021, her salary was only $436,000, which is even more concerning. It was a massive leap, not a little bump. The salary increase was substantial. Oh, and there's a catch to this entire affair. Very well, could you tell me what I'm looking at? Their son Jonathan Lamb somewhat revealed their father's true intentions when he revealed that he really wanted Joni to receive their joint pay in the event of his death. Interesting, I must say. $1 million is still a lot of money to run a non-profit, even if that's not true. It does in fact provoke a great deal of thought in me. Do you think they are putting that money to good use? Helping people, not making money, is what a non-profit organization is all about. True, and many donate to non-profits because they truly believe in the work they do. They absolutely have faith in them. Very well. Because of this, it is puzzling to see such large salaries, particularly for members of the family, and to wonder what happens to all that money. It prompts you to question if the end objective remains paramount. Yes, and the reality is that it's not just Joni who's doing very well financially. No one in the family is against it. Oh, is that so? Joni's kids and their spouses earned nearly $2 million in 2022, according to this leaked Daystar document. $2 million? That's insane. Yes, and in 2023, those wages will be raised even further. It is as simple as that. The family earns a respectable living wage, working for the company. Yes, to a large extent. Things are definitely more likely to get messy because of that. Sure thing. The question who's really getting all this money arises as a result. Would you say the ministry or the family? It is difficult to form an opinion when everyone is so close by. Indeed, I brought up Jonathan Lamb, the son who revealed the salary arrangement, so please remember that I did so. I know, what became of him? Both he and his wife Susie were let go from Daystar towards the year's end. I apologize. Not only was the breakup ugly, but they have publicly stated that Joni is trying to cover up serious accusations. Please tell me the nature of the claims. This relates to allegations of sexual abuse of their daughter. That's quite significant. It certainly adds a great deal of complexity to the plot. Nowadays, it's about more than just money. I understand. Misconduct and potential cover-ups are at the heart of this matter. Quite a bit. As a supposed moral and faith-based organization, this is a devastating hit to their credibility. The source of the secret paper, Roy's report, actually contacted Daystar to seek their opinion when all of this came to light. Indeed, could you please tell me what they said? You would expect them to address the matter of compensation head-on, wouldn't you? One could assume that. But they refrained from doing that. They pursued Jonathan's reputation instead. They really went to town trying to discredit him. They essentially instructed the reporter to keep the whole thing under wraps. A lot of people will say things like that when they don't want to answer serious questions. A subtle way of putting it is, don't believe him, he's just angry because he was fired. But blocking the message here will just make you appear more suspicious. Sure thing, it exacerbates the problem. They are believed to be hiding something. Additionally, nonprofits are understandably anxious about the lack of clarity. The reason being that they rely on people giving them permission to operate their business. Very well. When people have doubts about a nonprofit's transparency regarding the use of donated funds, they are less inclined to contribute financially. Sure thing. Many people have faith in charitable organizations, even though there was some back and forth. Daystar did say something regarding the salary. Tell me what they said. None of the salaries, they said, are covered by gifts. Then how is the money generated? The revenue they generate from radio and television, they claimed, is where it comes from. I find that quite intriguing. Well, that's about it. Daystar receives funding from other organizations that purchase SMS. Indeed, slots are sold to other agencies. A lot of those groups rely on donations, so yes, you're right. It seems like the money just keeps circling back around. It is indeed. One analogy would be the classic board game hopscotch. While donations to Daystar might not always result in immediate payment, they do represent the initial investment. Yes, and it raises the question, should Christians concerned about the distribution of their donations be concerned about which ministry receives the funds initially? The question does make things less clear, but it's a good one. Is there therefore any significant difference between this and just paying salaries with gifts? Because of this, it is more difficult for Daystar to address fan concerns directly, because they can claim, well, we're not directly using your money for this. And because the system is intricate and interconnected, the answer is yes. The question remains unanswered. By the way, do you recall when Jonathan brought up that salary negotiation? Additionally, he mentioned that he was unable to locate the paychecks for Joni and Doug Weiss in the payroll system. That is to say, he was blind to their existence. Absolutely no chance of getting in. Yeah, that does sound a bit strange, doesn't it? Very peculiar. I fail to understand why they would want him to miss that. To add intrigue, Jonathan claimed that shortly after Doug tied the knot, he started earning 6 figures annually from Daystar as a consultant. A consultant? Impressive. I'm done. That does make people wonder for sure. It does in fact. Those who work for charities or in the family business should have strict guidelines regarding the management of funds. You definitely don't want it to appear like you're merely lending a hand to your relatives. Very well. People may start to distrust the group more because of it. Issues with finances, family strife and grave accusations are all possibilities. It's quite a bit to comprehend. Indeed, we will delve deeper into Daystar's response to all of this, and its implications for the transparency and accountability of faith-based organizations. Give me the lowdown. The situation is intriguing, although somewhat chaotic. It exemplifies the challenges of large-scale nonprofit management, particularly when dealing with issues of faith and family. Sure thing. It makes you question what would have transpired if the situation had been crystal clear from the beginning. It is an excellent question. Just imagine for a second, if Daystar, like every other nonprofit, was required to file those 990 tax forms. You make a very valid point there. That little form is a great way to be transparent. Not everyone is aware that nonprofits are required to make their Form 990 public. With this system in place, everyone can observe exactly where their money is going and who is the beneficiary of tax cuts. You're implying that if Daystar were required to be that transparent about their finances, they might have considered those large salary increases. It is feasible because people will likely be considerably more cautious with their money when they are aware that they are being monitored. As if trying to conceal anything would be futile in a world where everything is visible. That is done, and contributors have the option to choose the specific use of their funds. This will allow them to verify that the organization is actually utilizing the funds they have provided. It's similar to getting a sneak peek at an automobile's interior before you buy it. Verifying proper functionality is of utmost importance. Indeed, customers are more likely to have faith in a company that operates with integrity. Transparency regarding financial matters demonstrates a lack of ulterior motive. That is reasonable, but come on, not every charity is perfect, is it? Sadly, the world is full of dishonest people. Sure thing. Unfortunately, there will always be a few rotten apples in any group. Just how does one determine whom to trust? For that reason, you should review the 990 forms, inquire about anything that doesn't make sense, and don't be shy about leaving if you're not satisfied. So basically you're arguing that you shouldn't donate to any organization that claims to be non-profit. Very full. Donate with wisdom. Since the funds are yours, you have a right to know where they're going. I see your point. Also, let's bring up Jonathan Lamb again, because we're discussing trending expenditure. He was the one whose son-like behavior made everyone aware of this. I understand. Given his dismissal, some may suspect he was plotting something illicit. That is a valid point to consider when facing accusations. Verifying their lack of bias is crucial. He may be attempting to harm his family. That's true. Maybe. But even if he isn't speaking honestly, his point is still highly significant. Furthermore, we must not ignore the grave allegations of sexual abuse. We must take action in response. Undoubtedly, such assertions merit serious consideration. Daystar may have denied the allegations, but their very existence begs the question of how seriously the company takes its culture. I agree that it makes you question the commitment to public safety. Is there anything else we don't know about these stories? That is a tough question for me to answer, but it does highlight the need for greater accountability among faith-based organizations. The money, the family drama, and the serious accusations have all been discussed. The future of Daystar and Christian media in general is uncertain in light of all this. I think we can all agree that Daystar has a trust issue. Yeah, a ton. And resolving that will not be a picnic. They must demonstrate their commitment to transparency by addressing all of these concerns head-on. As the old adage goes, actions speak louder than words. Everyone needs to see evidence that they are actually making a difference, including you and the fight. How does Christian culture generally fare? How is this indicative of who they are? Even religious organizations are huge and can make mistakes,
Huge ones included.
It follows that religious communities are not immune to conflict. Everyone in Christian media needs to take a deep breath and be more accountable because of this. Absolutely. And it's not just for their own protection, it's for the protection of those who put their faith in them as well. Ensuring the proper utilization of donations and maintaining the mission's priority are of utmost importance. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We don't know what to do. For example, is it possible for us to have an impact in our own? The question is well posed. Keeping ourselves informed is, in my opinion, paramount. Gather more information, inquire, and hold groups accountable for the choices. So just because an organization claims to do good deeds doesn't mean we should give them money. Take some time to consider. Very well. This could be seen as an investment. Your money needs to be put to good use. What if something doesn't seem right when we look at it? Is it something we should disregard? I think not at all. Speak up if you have concerns regarding a group, so you could get in contact with the office, speak to other people, or report it to a watchdog group. Very well. What you say has the potential to change things. The security of the entire Christian community is more important to us than security of our own fun. I understand. What matters most is that we fight for what we think is right. From financial concerns and family strife to the broader context of Christian media, we have covered a lot of ground here. This is an extremely intricate case. Although one thing is certain, the plot is far from finished. Because many issues remain unanswered, this will have far-reaching consequences. As we conclude this second section of our in-depth analysis, we would like to share one final thought with you. Yes, you should give this some serious consideration while you continue to consume Christian media. If Daystar were required to be transparent, like other non-profits, what would have transpired? In hindsight, what would you change? The importance of faith-based organizations being transparent and having leaders who are truthful comes to mind when we consider this question. It prompts us to consider ways to safeguard those principles as well. Indeed, it is a thought-provoking question. Yes, what if Daystar was required to be as transparent as other charities? At this point, would we even be discussing it? Knowing for sure, simply not feasible. Then again, things could have turned out differently. Being truthful is like being protected by a safety net. Everyone is more forthright, and it becomes more difficult to get away with wrongdoing. If you know someone is watching you, you'll probably be more cautious. Very well. Keeping bad things from happening is only part of it. Making contributors feel good is also important. They can then decide whether they want to continue contributing financially after seeing how their money is being used. What's happening with Daystar isn't much clearer to us. We've considered the finances, the marital issues, and those grave allegations. I feel like it raises more questions than it answers. To be honest, indeed, the story's difficulty is evident. However, having more questions isn't necessarily a negative thing. It seems like there's still more to discover though. I understand. Additionally, it could be beneficial to continue inquiring about all the major groups, not limited to Daystar.